Every year, we travel to different parts of the country to hear about how cities are supporting their small businesses to grow and succeed. This feeds into our annual Small Business Outlook report, which looks at how and why the performance of SMEs varies across the 64 largest cities in the UK. This year, I thought I'd bring a camera with me to showcase some of these different experiences. My second trip was to the engine shed in Bristol, where I looked at why the city has become a hub for creative, digital and media SMEs.
Bristol has a very unique mix, I think, because of the history of the BBC here. So with the BBC, out of the BBC came TV production companies, and out of those companies came, in those days, multimedia companies. Out of that came us and the likes of us, creative digital companies that were working not just on CD-ROMs but also actual web stuff. And developing those sorts of skills, drawing in from the skill base from the universities and the knowledge that was there, the affordable housing, the vibe in the city as well, which is, I think you'd have to be here to understand, but most people who study here don't want to leave and they find excuses to be here. It's kind of special.
I asked James Durie and Ben Shorrock to describe that special Bristol vibe.
I think the edginess, Bristol's kind of got a long history of being quite irreverent and at times wanting to sort of push the boundary a bit, and people, particularly people in the sort of creative industries, like the feel of that.
I think a lot of people who are looking internationally at where they could set up, they want to set up somewhere where they think there's activity and there's a real buzz about a city. And traditionally that's been big places like London or New York, but actually people have started to realise that you get all of that in slightly smaller cities than you used to.
Bristol's ability to poach London talent has been important for Paul Archer's business.
For us, we make apps, iOS apps and Android apps, so the area talent is quite specific, but also it's something which is relatively generic across all the cities. So we could be in London, we could be in Bristol. What we do get is we've got a high level of talent of people who have just got fed up of living in London. They can't afford to buy a property and they're moving out here, and that's the time when they may not necessarily get exactly the same pay grade as they were getting there, but the quality of life is 10 times higher, and actually what they can get for that is much more.
Tech entrepreneur Henry Nurser agrees.
One of the fundamentals issues is quality of life, and that's not just the fact you can go out of the building and you get a sandwich, but also travelling here. We've got 35 people in the company, we've got one car parking space, quite often that's not used. Everyone either walks, cycles or comes by train, so it's very convenient for a lot of reasons.
These advantages have led to a build-up of talent that is feeding Bristol's newest sector, gaming.
We have the community of very experimental, independent developers and designers who are doing their own things. We have a number of companies that can help people get going. We have places like the Bristol Games Hub that can provide advice. We also, within the wider area, have a very strong mobile development community, which is really important these days. We've got a very strong web community. We've got a very strong creative designer-led community. So all of that combines to create a really nice environment to foster games development in Bristol.
The engine shed is a testament to the city's support for entrepreneurship. I spoke to its director, Nick Sturge, about the help provided to startups.
Companies get intensive support to help them accelerate their businesses. The WebStart model is equity driven, so the accelerator invests in the companies and they get a fixed program of support. SetSquared is a slightly different model. We don't invest, we're government funded, and the companies get coaching, mentoring, workshops, strategic review panels, access to lawyer, accountant, patent attorney, journalist, etc. Access to our network, investor readiness training, investor showcase events. So all the things you need, but at the pace that the company need it, but slightly accelerated so that we're progressing.
What more can Bristol do to help its SMEs? Jaya Chakrabarti thinks that affordability is a concern.
Making sure there's enough affordable housing. There's a huge housing crisis going on in the city right now for people just trying to get here and get on a ladder. And I would like to see more of that happening, because those of us who are established can see how difficult it is.
With so many people coming to Bristol, Paul Appleby worries about how inclusive the city's growth will be.
At the moment there is an issue about the diversity of the workforce and the opportunities that feel that are there. when we have some of the country's brightest young people coming to university here, there's a danger that if I'm growing up in Bristol, I suddenly find that all these people have arrived and they've essentially top-sliced my opportunity. So it is actually important that we can grow our own as well.
Bristol's anchor institutions and cultural offer has attracted a buzzing small business community. But these advantages are not the only way to boost fast-growing sectors in the economy. In the next video, I'll be finding out how Leeds has shifted away from its industrial past towards fostering the businesses of the future.